So then, welcome to the stream, and it's been a long time, and the reason why it's been a long time is because of this. So, I do a lot of, I basically fell and broke my wrist, so yeah, I've not been able to really do anything because it's been quite painful. It's been on there for about 4 or 5 weeks now, so it's better than what it was. I still can't do anything that's heavy, but overall, it's better than what it was, so that's good, right? So I'm going to attempt, and that's one of the reasons why I'm not going to do a GA flight today, because it's it'd be too much for my hand. But so I got the PMDG 737, and I think I've done one flight off stream, but I had it a long time ago, and it's quite funny how much you remember on how you can fly it and all that. So it's interesting. It is interesting. So what we're going to do today is we're going to be pretty quick because I've got stuff to do. It's going to be a quick stream because I've got quite a lot of stuff to do today. So what we're going to try and do is start her up from cold and dark, show you some of the features, start her up from cold and dark, and then we'll do a short flight from East Midlands to Liverpool. It's roughly about 25 minutes in the air, but it takes about 10-15 minutes to start up, and then a bit of me babbling on around the features of the aircraft and stuff. So yeah, so first things first, what I want to do is set up the flight plan, right? Now, the way I want to do this is sometimes I'll go into here and I'll go into data history, and you can do a search, and you can search for like aircraft type and all sorts of stuff, right? Or you can go into data history and oh no, sorry, you can go to filters, and you can do it on, what is it, aircraft type, and then if you do like B73 and then press enter, I think, yeah. So you can get all like the 737s, and then you can see where they're going from and to, and then what you can do then is when you've picked a, I'm just going to remove my filter by the way, but when you've picked a plane that you want to use and want to do, you can then go to you can get to this real world flight plan, right? And you put in your destination, your departure and destination, and it will give you real world routes. Now, can't think of a real world route off the top of my head at the moment. ERDW. Let's try it. So there you go. So going from Liverpool to Dublin, for instance, you've got this, and what you can use this route in your flight planning, right? Which is really useful, right? So the other good tool is SimBrief. So I'm going to do it for today for the East Midlands flight. So go to my flight plan. I've already kind of got one, but we'll start a new flight. Right, and what you have to do is basically just put in anything here really. You know, we're going to be Ryanair, so we're just going to put Ryanair in there. And my call sign's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. You can put whatever you want in there, right? EGNX is the departure, and EGGP. Now, there's no real world routes for this, I don't believe. But what that'll do is it'll give you the weather. So the weather's in there. So we'll get to that. We'll depart. It doesn't really matter when you can be as realistic as you want with this, by the way, but I'm just going to put 9. What time is it? It's gone 9, but yeah, we'll just do that. Then you choose your airframe. Now, down here you've got 737 somewhere. 73, where is it? There, right? And I'm actually doing the 737-700, so that's good. This here is how I have it set up. Sometimes I put the runway analysis on there as well. Sometimes I change this, and this is just the format that it's in. So you can have like Ryanair if you really want to. So we'll put Ryanair for today. And you just got to make sure that that's all filled out correctly. Don't really worry about that. So what we'll do is we'll just put my own little number in there. Normally I put taxi as 15 minutes, not 20 minutes. I normally put taxi for 5. Fuel, I put an extra 30 minutes of fuel in the plane. This isn't necessary for the flight that I'm doing today, by the way. I can show you how I do that, but and then it'll kind of give you. Oh wait, have I messed up here? That's interesting. Right, no, so that's right. So it'll suggest routes, right, which is useful. And as I say, if you go onto that real world, you get to that real world one by clicking that button as well. Yeah, and there is actually some routes, right? They're old routes, but they're routes. So you could actually, it just goes to TNT, right? But what SimBrief has done is give you the SID, the standard instrument departure, and also the star, which is the standard something arrival, right? I'm just going to go standard something arrival, right? And that comes into play when we start programming the FMC. There's our little route. So then what happens is you can then go generate flight. Bum, bum, bum. And that'll give you a nice little summary of what the flight looks like here, but what we like is the PDF, right? And in here, if we just scroll down to the next page, it gives you all the information that you need. It's got like takeoff winds, it's got your estimated takeoff weight, landing weight, zero fuel weight, then it's got your fuel, it's got, carry on down a bit, it has your route, so it has your route there with the SIDs and the stars. So SID, star, right. It also has, where is that now? See, I've been using a different format for a while, and that doesn't help. So we're going up to 10,000 feet by the looks of it. And then we'll carry on going down. And what's really useful about this, if we carry on down, so it gives you all like the information to all the waypoints, which is cool. Morning, Rob. Hope you're well, mate. The other thing it gives you is this. This is extremely useful. When we go onto the descent phase of the flight, we'll be using these figures here. So we'll keep that in mind. And then at the bottom, you will have the metadata for the different departure and the destination. So that's useful. We can check the weather, check the winds, make sure they all tally up. So yeah, so here we go. So that's that. Now I'm not gonna show that to you guys. I'm gonna put that onto a different monitor, and then we'll go back into the main scene. Right, let's get on board. So this is the plane, obviously. There you go. And this is on board. And I've set up a couple of views as well. So we got a couple of views. So we got an out the wing view. We like that view. We got, no, you can't see it at the moment, but that's an engine view, but you can't see it at the moment. Right, so what we're going to do first is we're at a cold and dark state, right? And we've got the center console, we've got the FMC. I've just got to check my messages because if it's okay, my messages are good. I got it. Right. So let's get going because otherwise I've got to be done. Right, so the first thing I normally do is if you press and hold the menu button without the batteries on, you can load this up, right? And then when you press FS actions, you've got all sorts of stuff here, right? And as I say, you can be as real as you want, right? But we're going to go ground request, and we're going to request the ground power, right? Just to start us off. We can also actually we've got some air stairs already. We've got some stairs, sorry, already. We'll also request the front loaders because they're fun to see. And then we'll head out. And then we'll... I don't know if there's a fuel truck, actually. That'd be quite funny if we do fuel. Ah, right. No, I don't know. I've never even used that. But anyway, I'm not going to do it on the stream just in case. But maybe on another stream when I've got a bit more time, you know. Hello. Right. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to whack in some fuel. Right. Now I'm going to kind of ignore what's on my plan for now because I want it to be nice and quick. So you can set your a third, 2/3, or full. I'm just going to set it to a third. Payload, good one on this. You can set it to empty or you can set it to random. So random's quite fun. That'll do, mate. Now we'll leave the doors and the pushback at the moment, right? And we'll get some power. So let's see what's happening outside. So currently we've got the stairs going on already. We've got these little things down here, look, that are loading in stuff. They don't actually load anything though. It's not like I can't remember what the, was it GSX or G something like that? I don't know. But it's not like that. It's not as advanced as that at the moment. Right, so let's get started. So first of all, put on your emergency power. That'll put on the lights. Don't necessarily need the lights today. Yes. Battery power. Things start happening. And then what we're going to do is we're going to set on the ground power. Just clear that for a minute. And then I kind of just work my way around. So first of all, you want to align the IRS, which is basically aligning the GPS system. You know, like telling everyone where telling the GPS system where the plane is. Right. We stick on the yaw damper. Sometimes that flicks off, and that's normally because you only got the battery power and you've not got any other power. All this you kind of just leave as standard. Now, depending on how much fuel we've got, we might not be using the center tanks. So what we'll do is once the screens have warmed up, we'll notice that pretty quickly. I think it is the case. So I think we've got empty center tanks, which we'll come back to in a minute. Right. So at the moment we've got our position lights as steady. We haven't got strobes on. So what we want to do is we want to turn on the electrics. Turn them on. And we'll start the APU. We'll flick that on as well, because that's just opening the APU up as well. And what's going to happen is this is going to shoot around here and then come back down, and then this light will turn on because that'll mean the APU is ready for the generating power. Right, so as you could see then, I've just cancelled it just out of habit, but it says fuel there. It looked like that, but it was fuel. Oh, there we go. And that means that the center tanks, if we just go down to here, the center fuel is empty, so we don't need the center fuel tank pumps on. Might as well kick around here until these lights come on. So we'll go straight onto APU because we've got plenty of fuel and we don't care about fuel. Turn the ground power off. Right, so continuing round the route, this is how we do it. So we can go APU generating, so it's generating power there. Not too fussed on that. If it's dark, this switch here will turn the panel lights on. Don't think we need that today. Following this thin strip down, we get to the seatbelt sign. Oh, on it. Double click that. So fasten seatbelts, get them on. We're going to ignore, these are the wipers, left wiper, right wiper. We're going to ignore these engine pieces at the moment. We'll come back to that. Then we'll go up this side here. So this is going to be our landing altitude. Now, I can't remember what Liverpool is and I can't bother to look, but I'm just going to put it as 250. It's quite important, but I'll put it as 250. And then our cruise altitude is going to be 10,000 feet. So I'm going to leave it at 10. And what the important thing here is, leave the packs, left pack and right pack off, right? Leave them off until you've started the engines. It's very important, that is. Otherwise you won't be able to start the engines. We've turned the electrics on. I did miss this bit actually, but so we've turned the electrics on. These are anti-ice. Now we'll put the anti-ice on once we've started the engines and we'll start going to do our taxi. We can turn these probe heats on and we can turn these 4 switches on up here. So there we go. So that's that. Now we can go down to the bottom and we can start looking at, we'll look at the FMC first, right? Right, so FMC. So this is how we're going to program this bad boy. So we're going to cheat today because I'm not using any more. I've got Top Cat, which is like a takeoff and landing performance tool. I sometimes use that, but I'm not using it today for this quick flight tutorial. So we're just going to go EG and X for the departure. We're at gate 11. You don't have to fill the gate, you have to fill the reference airport in. And then at this point, you can just copy this number into the scratch pad and pop it there, but the proper way of doing it is going next page and you'll see these GPS. Copy one of them, they should be the same. If they're not, just choose one, you should be alright. And then just pop that into this first one. Now what that does is it will align all our screens and get all that sorted out. Right, route. Once again, EG and X for that. EGGP for that. Now, at this point, if you was to have multiple airways and route and waypoints, you'd press next page and you can put them in here. So we've only got one and we're going to TNT, and because there's multiple TNTs that they think of, ours is Trent. We know it's Trent, it's not Trento, it's not Ton Contin, whatever that is. But yeah, we're going to go there. And we're not going to go direct, but we'll fill that in a minute. So first of all, we then need to go into, so we've done that, and then we need to go into, so we're on the route page, yeah. Now we need to go to departure and arrivals, and this is where you're going to put your SID and your star. So you go departure from there. I'm just going to look at the active runway for, right, so it's we're going to be going on runway 27, and then we're going to TNT. So the easiest method there is to choose TNT, but we know that from the flight plan that we got from SimBrief, so we can stick that there as well. Once you've done that, go back to departure and arrivals by clicking that. EGGP. We're going to do an ILS landing, and we are going TIPO. Alright, 1 minute. TIPO 2G, I think. Right, now. Let's go. So the next good thing what you can do. Why have we got a caution light? I don't know why we've got a caution light. The next good thing is you've got this here, and what you do is you put it on plan, and then when you go to, say, let's just go back to route, activate route. Right. You go to legs. You'll start off at East Midlands. I'll try and get that in there, and then you can step through by clicking step, and it'll go through all the waypoints. So this is like the standard departure. We've gone past TNT up to Nanty, cross there, up and around, and then we get stuck, right? So we're kind of going some weird route there, and we can increase that just to have a look. See how it kind of goes like up, round, and then it's got some weird stuff going on over here. So at this point, can you see we've got a discontinuity or whatever? Can't say that bloody word. Right, we actually, normally you can just go like that, right, and press execute. And then we can have a look at what that looks like. Let's continue to step through it. Okay, so that doesn't look too bad apart from this whole route round here, but I'm gonna leave it for today because that is completing our route. Now the other thing I like to do, which is really useful, is if you press runway 27, because that's the landing runway, and then you get to the fix page, you stick that in there and you'll see it highlight the runway. Then you can press / say 10, and that'll put a green ring around the 10-mile mark, and that's yeah, and then / 4, and this will come in handy in a bit, right? So let me just change the scoping of that. Right, so the reason why I do that is at the 10-mile nautical mile mark, you want to be around about 200 knots and flaps 1 or 5, right? When you get to the, oh 1 minute, I've decreased it, my apologies. Right, let's just zoom in on that. So when you get to the 10, around about the 10, you want to be at flaps 1, right? And at 200 knots. When you get to the 4, you pretty much need to be stabilised. You want to get your gears down. You want to get your flaps to your flaps that you're trying to land with. So that's what we're trying to do. So what I normally do is, normally I don't get this approach. So we're not quite hitting the 10 there. So at tipo D, whatever that one is, so at legs, I'm going to play it quite safe. Oops. At that phase there, I want to be at 200 at least, and I reckon at least 3,000 feet, right? Ready for the ILS approach. Right. We'll move that back to map. So that's the departure. We haven't got any discontinuities all the way up to there. Have we got any speed? That might need to be changed, but we'll hit that in a minute. So then you go on to init ref, and you just want to double click this. If you click it once, it'll put your 0 fuel weight in there. Click it again, it'll populate some stuff. So that's really useful. Reserves, you put in some reserves, but it doesn't really matter if you don't know what your reserves are. Just whack in the number. Put like 2.2 or 2 or something. Cost index, I like to use 6. Seems to work nicely. Now it gives you a recommended cruise. We're only going to go to 10,000 feet. So, and then put 10,000 feet in. Make sure you got your transition altitude, because that's going to be important when we take off. So execute that. We'll go into legs and so that's going to try and get up to 250 at the minute. 1 minute. To the M1 limit, sorry. So here you're going to want, you can do like a derated takeoff and climb. I'm just going to leave it as is. So we're going to be thumping it all the way up to like 10,000 feet pretty much. Takeoff, we are going to be doing flaps 5 today. And once again, centre of gravity, click it once, puts it in there, click it again, gives you a trim. V speeds, you can use It's a good thing. So it's quite useful because it gives you the speeds. But if you've got a takeoff tool that you can use, you just basically just click those in. Now at this time, we'll just leave that. The important bit is coming down to here. So here we're trying to slow down, but it's got like a speed restriction. Now I'm going to overrule that because I want to. So I'm going to go 240. If I can. I don't know how well this is going to work out, but because it's dropping quite a lot there, but we'll figure it out in the air if we need to. So as you can see down here, we've got a V2 speed of 132. So up in the speed, you want your 132, but say add on 5, you know. Right, so that's just you want a bit extra than your V2. Set this to your cruise altitude, but we'll sort that another time. It's always good to set the heading to your runway heading, which we are going to 27. And we'll flick these things on later on. Put your flight director switches on. Make sure you do both sides. On this here, I like to press FPV, which gives you a little dot where the actual plane is heading. We also need to set up our barrow, so because we're in the UK, we'll use that one. So we go down to the weather on our flight plan, and the weather is 1017 at East Midlands. So that's good. You've also got things like weather doesn't work at the moment, but it will do hopefully in the future. You've also got data, so that puts data information onto the waypoints. I don't use that. You've got terrain, so you could put terrain on, but I don't use that. You've got traffic, this little button in the middle, so you can put traffic on. Airports, so close airports, all the good stuff. Next thing we want to do, let me just check this is going to work. Turn that to RTO, make sure that light goes off. Oops, sorry, I'm messing around my throttles. At this point, I like to set the parking brake, set your flaps to the takeoff flaps, and then we'll hold it there for a minute. I'm just going to catch up on some of these chats. So, holding them. Jim could hold the magic sponge as his limp wrist. I'll tell you, I couldn't hold it. I couldn't get my wrist anyway. So, this feels like he's taking us on holiday. We're in the back being a pain. He's up front being all cool, and they're like, yes, exactly. No, Lewis, no. Right, so we're gonna just give you a little scope out the side again. There we go, we're fully loaded. We're now gonna start our run. So I like to use this one for the crap that's outside. So we'll release the ground power, release the stairs, that'll close the window, the door, sorry. We'll close all these, which is good. And then what we'll do is we'll also remove the chocks, because we don't need chocks. And we'll go back to menu, FMC, and let's go onto the progress page on that one. So what's cool as well is on the yoke we have some checklists, and funny enough I haven't done my trim, so the trim for the takeoff was 6, just around 6. So if we just zoom in a touch, this is really slow, and apparently it is slow, this slow in the real plane. When you're up in the air it's great, when you're on the ground trying to set it up it's not so great, but yeah. So half an hour later you get to set the trim. Right. Now what I just want to check is my controls, just make sure they are working. Yep, they're good. Right, so I think we are almost ready to rock and roll. So at this point, what we can do, I just thought, FS actions, and then you go to ground, pushback, okay? And we want to turn the plane, and we want the nose to be turned to the left or right. I can't remember. I haven't used this parking spot. I normally use the one that's a bit further down. We'll turn it to the right then. So we'll turn it to the right. So we're right 90 degrees. It's fun when you're doing it, Rob. And then you select your tug. I'm going to nickname that tug Lewis. Lewis the Tug. And then we're going to start.
Go ahead. We've been cleared for pushback and start. They want the tail to our left. Roger that. Ready for pushback. Tail to the left. Release brake, please.
We'll release the parking brake. This is where we're going to start the engine. So further up, we'll turn the anti-collision lights on, and we'll flick the left engine to the ground position. Or yeah. And what will happen is you'll see this spooling up. When it gets to about a 1, at least a 1, you flick the switch down here, and then eventually that will spool up nicely on the outside. So we've got the engine blaring up. And what we want to listen out for, when the engine's fully spooled up and started, that switch will automatically spring back into its original place. When that happens, you can then do your other engine on the other side. So I heard the click then, so we'll just go back in and start the other engine. Exactly the same. Go on, keep that on. Right, and what we'll do is we'll just change this to be traffic only, traffic and TA only. Right, so I showed you the overhead panel lights up here, which we're not going to put on, but that's there. The center console one is down here. Oops, just that's not working. There we go. So that's down here, and if you double click it, it'll turn them on and off fully. You've got floodlights as well, so that's a floodlight there. Down here you've got some more lights, so this is like a floodlight for underneath, under there. You've got panel lighting as well, but we don't need the panel lighting at the moment. Got some floodlights, so there's lights all over the shop, but no. Parking brake we need to set because the taxi's now done.
Brake set.
Our engines are now both started, so we need to put the generator on for both, which releases the APU generator, which is good.
Steering pin is pulled. Watch for the slip.
At this point we flick that switch there, put this on auto and put the packs on. Right then, now we can go back over here, just turn on that, go back to the FMC even. There we go. Now we're ready to head out. So we'll flick the switch, take the parking brake off, start our taxi. It's pointed me in a different direction that I wanted to go actually. Did I? Oh, I put nose right, didn't I? What a plonker. I wanted to go nose left. Anyway, we've gone to the right. So what I've done as well is I've set up my... Whoa, kamikaze dude in the truck then. what I've done is I've set up my throttle so that I've got one, my throttle quadrant. So I've got one, oh, hold up. I've got one, oh god, what are they called? Bloody thingies for each engine, right? One lever for each engine. I'm hoping this is not a parking space and it's actually a taxiway, yeah. What's good here is as well, you can look at the, you can check the ground speed here. That's useful. Real planes go really slow, but I'm going to go at least 30 miles an hour, 30 ground speed, 30 knots or whatever. And the reason why I'm being quick is because I've got loads of jobs to do today. I've got stuff to do, and I'm getting my hair cut, which is good. It needs cutting. So, and I've got to walk there. So I've booked an appointment. I've walked there. I've just realised how many people are in my chat. Hi all. I'm just there in the zone. Haven't even been looking at the chat, but yeah. Hopefully people are enjoying the stream and learning some stuff. So we're going to do full runway takeoff, and then we're gonna use toga. Hopefully. Sometimes it doesn't work for some reason, but most of the time it'll be fine. We're going to do an LNAV and VNAV, hopefully take off, and if not, then we'll have to turn them on later on. One of the best things I like about this flying this plane as well, toga party, was I get to use my fulcrum yoke. So I'm well chuffed that I get to use my yoke, because it's so good in a big plane like this to have a yoke. Oh, I'm doing 40 grand speed there, look. Now the issue I get with my throttles, because they're quite old, is I've got the reverse thrust as like like a button, but it detects the button when my throttles are at idle, which is really annoying. So I have to kind of like keep my throttles just slightly out of the notch where it would normally be idle. Right, we're just going to slow down here because we've got a few things to do. Right, so at the runway hold now. At this point we're gonna just double check everything. We're gonna turn the APU off. We didn't put our taxi light on. We could put the taxi light on. We'll put the landing lights on, just the fixed ones. We do have runway turn off lights, which we'll probably put on as well. We need to put strobes on, which is this switch here. It's a bit fiddly to get. There we go. It's fiddly because of my arm. If it wasn't for my arm, it keeps jumping all over the place, you see. Those go on continuous. We're just going to check the pressurisation. That's fine. Everything's good. Anti-ice on. Right. Everything is looking dandy. Ignore the warning about the anti-ice above 10 degrees. The true air temperature's there, so you can see that it's 13 degrees. But we're going to use that. We're going to use the anti-ice today. I was going to check something else. It was something up here. Oh, okay, yeah. So that the yoke before takeoff, we've done all that. Excuse me. I think we're ready to roll. So first thing I'm going to put on is the auto throttle. We'll put LNAV and VNAV on. Sometimes they don't work, and if they don't, just get onto the runway, take off, hand fly, and then eventually you'll be able to turn them on. The other thing is as well, I'm not sure, but I think you can only turn them on when your controls are centered. So if you let go of your controls, your yoke, you should be able to turn them on, I believe, but I'm not 100% with that one. You don't have to follow the yellow line. The yellow line is for coming off the runway, not on the runway, which gives you that little bit of extra time to spin around there like that. Gives you an extra bit of runway, because runway in front of you is much more useful than runway behind you. What you want to do is spool up the engines. You shouldn't get any error messages, right? And then you can release the brakes and then click a hidden spot here, which is a toga button, and it works. Now down here, that black button on the throttle there is toga. Right, so toga's happening. We're going to be slight forward pressure to 80 knots, which we've just done. V1 and
V1. Rotate.
so VR is rotate. So when it says rotate, we should have been rotating. We are just going to zoom out a touch. Positive rate, we're going to get rid of the rows. Right, so we've put the autopilot on. We've made sure these are on. Auto throttle's on. Now what we're looking for here, I'm just going to hide the yoke for a minute. Actually, let's just do the after takeoff checklist. Engine bleeds are on anyway, packs for auto anyway, landing gear up, flaps up. They will be once we get our speed up. So, there we go, we are flying high, man. Wing view. So yeah, so we'll come back into the cockpit in a second. Just have a little breather. Right. So at this point, when we get past, these are your flaps, right? When we get past 1, when we get, well, just under 1, we want to be at 1, right? Not 5. When we go past up, obviously we want that to be up. So when you're below 1, it's going to be the 5. I think I only set my flaps to 2, which wasn't good, but now it's up, so we do flaps up. And that's that. We are up in the air, we're flying, we've got gears up. At this point we want to actually put that down to the centre. We also want to move this to the off position. Wherever that, the off, yeah, off position. And that's it, we're moving now. Things to look out for when we are at 6,000 feet. 6,000 feet, if you remember, was our transitional altitude. This is the Lancaster 314, Rob. It's got 5 propellers, this one. 5. It's got about 2,000 rivets. All the rest is hand screwed bolts that hold the wings together. I'll show you that later on. But yeah, the 6,000 feet is the transitional altitude. And what that means is that's the altitude where you go from the airport air pressure to standard pressure. And all that means is when we go above 6,000, we've got to click this little button here, which is STD. And it is not what you think, Rob. STD is standard air pressure, okay? Not what you're thinking. Not what Lewis probably has. Oh. Yeah, I knew you'd get in. Look at that, I knew you'd get in. Oh man, I love it. But anyway, we're looking here. I do actually say, I don't say I've got an STD, but I say this was an aggressive accident, but it's the wrong hand. The wrong hand. Right, so this is currently, because you're on VNav and LNav, it's currently following the FMC. So whatever's in the route is it's trying to follow that. So we're at 6,000 feet. Yeah. If you ever click off it and you go onto legs, you've basically got climb, cruise, descend. Right, and we're currently climbing, so we're just going to leave it there. That gives you some useful information around what's happening there. And we have got some stuff to set up. Whoa, hello. It's a cloudy day on cloudy day. Look at that. Filthy day. Absolute filth. Oh, we're climbing again. This is where I want to show you. So if I don't change it to be standard straight away, see how it comes up with the yellow? That means it needs to be clicked onto standard. And then before we know it, we'll be on our top of climb. So if we look at this down here, TC, top of climb, that's where we're going to be at our 10,000 feet. Absolutely love looking out the window in these big jets. When you're just at this kind of altitude, you're not really high, but you're not really low. It is really good. Let me just use two. Go Rob, check you out. He went full dong. Oh man. Right. What time is it? Okay, yep, so we're getting there. We're getting there. It's going to be a fast end to the stream. Right, so we're at our cruise altitude now. We've probably missed half the checklist, so we've done these, so that's fine. Right, descend. Now this is, I like to set up my descent before I actually descend, obviously. So what I want to show you, let me just move this, but now we're cruising, let me just show you this. Right. Whoops. So we've got on here, this is the flight plan that we're going to use. I'm just going to go straight back to the top again, and I'm just going to show you some stuff. So this is where we've just kind of set up the plane a lot, with the fuel, etc. We've got the route, which is your star, which could change if you're on ATC, by the way, but if you just want to get up and fly, which is what this flight's all about, then we don't need to worry about a lot of this here. It's just like winds and weights and speeds and stuff. What we do use is this descent information here. It's what I'm going to key into the FMC in a minute. Also, further down where we've got the weather, we have the destination airport of Liverpool. Whoops. With the QNH of 1017, right? So we're going to use that as well. So let's get back to the main scene, and we're gonna sort this out. Right. So I'm going to set up my descent now because we've got a while to go, but we'll get there. So we go descent, and what we want to do is we want to go to forecast page. Make sure your transitional level is set. This is where the QNH is going to be, so we're going to be 1017. Stick that in there. Then we're going to want to go to the winds page in my plan, where I said that descent thing was. Now in here I'll use 310, 200 and 100. Right. 31,000 feet, 20,000 feet, 10,000 feet. So we've got 21966. For that. Alright! We've got 22537. Okay. And 10,000 feet we've got 232. 27. Right. So that's that. So that's the descent. I'm also going to set up my approach speeds. So what you do is you press init ref and it'll come to this approach reference speeds, right? And I'm going to set all this up as well so we don't have to do anything. We got some spammage. How do I get rid of that idiot? How do I get that? This is not good when I'm trying to bloody... oh, I can't bother. I'm too busy. Right. So we're going to land at flaps 30. We like 30. 30 is good. You can just click that there, get that into the scratch pad, wallop it in there. 30, 131 that. Our VREF is going to be 131. So our speed is going to be 136. The next thing we need to look at is the ILS. Sorry for zooming in out there. ILS, so we need to program the radio. We also need to set the course. So let's do the radio first. 111.75. So down here you've got your navs. So 111.75. Swap that over to the active. 111.75. Swap to the active. Perfect. Thanks for the follow, whoever just followed. I didn't see who it was, so apologies, I'll check afterwards, but whoever that was, thank you, and appreciate it. We've got course of a 266, so we need to set the course to 266. I've probably gone the long way around, but by the time I've figured it out, we're there. Oh, get there eventually. Right. 266. Right, so that's good. The next thing we want to check is we need to set, what was the weather again? So 1017 was the altimeter, right? So when this comes off standard, when we go past the transitional altitude, we need to have the correct thingamajig, air pressure. So 1017, we just stick there, but we're still standard. That's what's green. I don't know why we jumped up there, but we jumped up. I think we went through some serious cloudage. Oh, look at that. Right, we need to turn off the taxi lights. Now, if you're above 10,000 feet, you would turn off your landing lights, but because we're at 10,000, I'm not going to bother doing that. Another useful thing was there are some settings. So in here, you get a menu, PMDG setup. You can set up some aircraft options. So you can get to like equipment, change what setups you've got. I'm not going to change this now, but displays as well. Change what gets off the on the display. There's one. Can't remember. I don't know where it is though. If I can find it. Or what page it's on. I can't remember what page it's on, but it is somewhere in here, right? And what it does is, can you see the blue bar when I'm doing this? That is actually my throttle setting on my slider, right? It won't do anything because obviously I've got autopilot on. But let's just say I'll drop that to idle, right? Then and turn the autopilot off. That's just going to go oof. So what you want to do is when you come and you're just about to turn the autopilot off, you kind of want to marry that up as much as you can, yeah. And that is a really useful thing to do. So we're going to come around here, top of descent. You can't actually. Is there like a TD there? Look, that's top of descent. And we're gonna have to set up. We're gonna have to reduce this now because this is follow the FMC. When we come to the top of descent, it's going to want to start descending using LNAV and VNAV. So we need to reset this. And if you don't do that, then obviously you won't descend. But if you do, you will. Now you can set it to like different waypoints and all sorts. You can do it as gradually as you want to go across, but what I tend to do is just stick it down to like say 2,000 feet. And the reason why I'm doing 2,000 feet is if I go to legs at Tippard we're going to be 3,000 but when we get to CF27, so when we get to like around here, we're going to want to be at 2,000. This is interesting actually. I'm going to be curious to see how this actually pans out, because that to me looks like a really sharp turn. But anyway, we'll get to that. So when we get to this part here, we're going to be on at 2,000 feet. So, and then we'll use the ILS to actually land the plane. So that's why we're not doing that. Currently we're at cruise, so I'm just going to stick the cruise page on again. The progress page, if you press progress there, it tell you what time you're going to be at the airport, so 9:23. So if we look at the clock, we've got another 20 minutes to go. Top of descent, we've got, that's a good one. Yeah, I might just have enough time. 10 past 9, or 7 minutes past 9, sorry, will be top of descent, so we're really close to top of descent now. So we've got the old wing view, looks fantastic. I love the little bit of wing flex as well. So if you've obviously people have been on planes, but if you've been on a plane and you get that, you look out the window, you'll see the wing wobbling. You're like, oh Jesus! I'm gonna try and kick that user, do something with that user. I can't. Why won't it let me do anything with that user? Seriously. See, I can't see how I get rid of that user now. It's been a while. Let's click that. Ah, here we go. I think I've found it. Yeah, there we go. He's gone. Oh, we're turning. That's where you feel sick. And the other thing is, on this view here, we're zoomed in a bit, but we're in the plane. Hello. Let's go that side. It's a big old plane. Get some food at the back there. Let's get back to our seat. Right. We are coming close to our top of descent. Now, because we're really close now, and we've got all this empty space, we can move the range ring a bit closer, which will give us a bit more detail. So remember what it says, this is the 10 nautical mile range ring for and what the 10 is going to be used for is hopefully getting down to flaps 1 and 5, and then going from 10 to 4 we're going to want to hit the other flaps down to 30, drop the gears. So by the time we get to 4, hopefully we should be gears down, nice 30 flaps, steady approach, maybe even capture the ILS on the localizer and the glide slope. So fingers crossed all goes well, people, but I'm not a professional pilot, I don't do it for a living, this is just for fun, and every flight to me is just different because I'm not that great on the 737, gotta admit, but it'll hopefully work. Hopefully it'll work out today. Right, so just check that we've got our landing lights on, that's good. When we've taken off, we should have turned those off to off, right? And that's my bad, I forgot to do that. My flaps are dropped. Right, you hear that we need to drop your flaps. Drop your flaps, baby. Bloody wind turbine on there, look. So, because we've gone past top of descent now, we've started our descent, and we are going to be working our way down and around. Just so we've gone to the descent page as well, we've already filled that in there. You could do that right now if you wanted to, but we've already filled that in. That's why I like to do it during the cruise, so that we don't have to worry about it last minute. Personal preference. So when this speed goes to there, which it will do eventually, it'll get close to being to up, we want to then start dropping flaps 1. It can just be just above there, because if you look down here we've got flaps limit, right, and flaps 1 is 250 knots, so 1 and 2 and 5 you're 250 knots. So you could just drop flaps right now, but you don't want until you get closer, because you'll be killing speed for nothing. Wasting that virtual fuel. Let's have a little mosey outside for one last time before we start our well, we're doing the descent, but we're big fat wind farm over there. Get the sun off them. Probably can't see on the screen. Good times. So what you want to look out for here as well is, if we just go to the legs page, you want to look out for the altitude, what you should be reaching at that point. So that's what we're looking for, 5651. The other thing, we are very high actually, which isn't good. This isn't good, by the way, just for the record. So this thing here, what we might need to do here is just give it a bit of that. Now the reason why I've done that is because this arrow here, this diamond should be in the middle, and then that will be meeting our descent path. So I did say it was quite a steep descent from the point where we were going, but it's catching up. It is catching up. So that's good. The fact that we've helped that along is good, by the way. Right, we'll just flick that off now. Right, so we've gone past 6,000 feet, so now we can double check our pressure, click the button. Shouldn't be far off because we forecasted it, so that should be fine now. Cool. Got landing lights on, we're good. So what we can look at now is the descent checklist. So we've done the pressurisation landing. Recall is that. Just check that's all off. Auto brake, that's a good point. Didn't do the auto brake. Put that on 3. Landing data we've done. Approach briefing. Guess what, people? We are landing. That's what the approach is. Altimeters, we've done the altimeters, and now we go down to landing. Right. Oh, here we go. Too far off now. Let's just double check this landing thing. Yep. Okay, that's fine. Yep, I get all that. So we're coming round. Remember what I said? When we hit that that waypoint, by the time we get to that green ring, we want to be at around 200 knots. You know, it could be a little bit more, but around 200 knots. We're hitting that diamond just nicely, so that's good. So we're on the descent path. You've got to keep an eye on that. I keep forgetting to do that on when we start our descent, but that has to be in the middle. If that's not in the middle, by the time you get to your airport, you're going to be too high. You're not going to capture the localizer and all that. So yeah, the thing I don't like about it, Brian, is when you say if I wanted to change the altitude there and I start scrolling, if this actually simulated any kind of turbulence, even without turbulence, sometimes you do that and you end up doing this, and you're like, what? Why are you doing that for? You know. But and normally I do this in VR, but and you can literally just lean forward and backwards, and you can do it that way. And just so you know, I'm keeping my one ear out just in case my wife shouts. So she's working from home, so if I start giving grief with the internet bandwidth, which I don't think I should, but you know, it is what it is. So we're coming down now to we've got down to 200, look, and that's perfect, because by the time we get to that green bar, right, we are going to be what's going on here? Yeah, that's fine. going to be perfect, this is, guys. Now the landing is probably not going to be perfect because I'm crap at landing. Just so you know, this airplane can auto land. So once we've captured the localizer and we've captured the glide slope, this plane can auto land, and pretty much all you have to do is click that button there and it will be Bob's your uncle. But when you land, you've then got to make sure you do your rudder pedals to keep it straight, put the reversers on, slow that plane down. So where are we going? I can't see the airport. Oh, I know why, because we've got to go round first. We've got to go all the way around. I don't know why I did 200 there. I shouldn't have done 200 there, but oh well. I should have done 200 at the next waypoint, but we'll have a slow mosey round. There's the engine blaring. I should have done 200 on the other waypoint, but it is what it is. Cool. So, and that's pretty much it. So when we come to the ILS, I'll show you what we need to do now. Because we've slowed down to the 200 mark, what that means is we're already prepared that we can drop the flaps to 5, and then when we get a little bit closer and the airspeed drops down to the 5, we can then start dropping it down the other notches of flaps until we get to flap 30, and then by that point you're on your reference speed. And you should also have the speed control as well. It will come off VNAV and LNAV. Yeah, it will come off VNAV and LNAV, and you have the speed control, and that's where you use your V reference speed, and you just add on, say, like 5 knots. There is a whole formula depending on wind and all that, but I'll just normally add on 5 knots. But yeah, let's just double check that we're still good. Excuse me. So yep, so we're still at the diamond, we're still at 2. Yep, that's right. And even if you didn't know that, the 1 and the 5 and the 15, if you do the 5 and you go straight to the 15, even if you do 5 and you get to the 15, what will tend to happen is you'll get a warning anyway to say your gears are not down, and then you'll remember that you have to put your gears down. Excuse me. So we're getting close now. ILS. As you can see, sometimes these diamonds, so this diamond's a pink diamond here, you'll also have another pink diamond up here. This is the localizer diamond, this is the glide slope diamond, and they'll become active when we start basing the runway. And then what we're then going to do is start clicking some autopilot buttons so that it captures these and then follows them instead of what's in the FMC. There's something else, the diamonds. Oh yeah, sometimes then diamonds are white as well, depends on what setup you've got, but on this setup we've got pink, which is good. Now I really shouldn't have set that to 200 before, but we did, so that's what it is. So we've got a little way to go yet. I'm just going to grab myself a little drink, be right back. Now the interesting thing, I haven't flown in what we call pancake mode for a long time. I normally fly in VR, but in the 737 I find, because there's a lot of stuff to do, if you don't know the buttons, then flying in VR in the 737 is quite difficult because all the text is quite blurry. I can fly it because I know what I'm pressing. And it is really cool when you're in VR and you look up and you've got your overhead panel there and everything's to scale. It is really cool. Can't describe it, but it is really cool. And especially when you're looking out of windows like this, it's mental. But But yeah, I mean pancake mode, which is what we're doing today. I don't mind in the 737. I don't think I like do. I won't do it in GA. But for the GA stuff in VR. The flight's too short, Rob. You don't get any drinks or food. Plus, it's Ryanair, so they're cheap, aren't they? Right. Are we there yet? Alright, let's have a look. So the runway, we've just gone past the runway, and this is where we're going to start. Probably, I think, we do the flaps in a minute. Just for the fun of it. Just so I'm a little bit earlier than... You probably could wait till we've gone round, but I'm just going to do the flaps in a minute. Right, so let's do the flaps 1. Here we go. That's so cool. Yeah, I know, but the one that I tried though, Lewis, was crap. So, and I was like, I can't fly like this. So I'm gonna go flaps 5. I know I probably shouldn't be doing this while we're going round the round the corner, but we are. Right, let's head on in there. Right. So as you can see, we're dropping flaps. We're going to do flaps 5 as well in just a moment. We should just do 5 now, actually. So as you can see, what happens is, 1, you get to the you do flaps 1. Then you'll do flaps 5. When you get to 5, that's when you want to do 15. But before then, you want to put your gears down. Now this is where it gets a bit hectic. So I'm going to just concentrate a moment. So we're following this round. I might be able to go in a little bit more. Yeah. Following this round, we should get some movement on that at the moment. This is so normally, if I'm coming in from 10, that's where I'll start doing the 1 and the 5, right? But because we're kind of going a bit weird here. Why is it going round in circles? I don't get it. Anyway, we're now turning. We should be turning towards the runway. I've never done this approach before, so it's quite interesting to see. So now we can go straight onto approach, actually, because we've got the glide slope and the localizer being active. We've just captured both the localizer and the glide slope, so we are good to go. That'll level up nicely eventually. At some point it will level up. Right, speed, we're gonna go gears down now. The plane's doing some weird stuff. We're completely missing the I don't know what's going on there, but anyway, we need to do some drag, I think, because we need to get down to the the gears are down. Look, there we go. Don't know if you heard that. Gears down. What we're going to do is we're just going to... Normally you don't have to do that. You don't have to give any kind of drag, but because that was such a weird approach. Right. Armed, continuous... Okay, what else have we got on there? Landing gear down, flaps. Right, so let's need to do more flaps. The problem is that because I was faffing around doing all that, it's not worked out very well with the flaps, which isn't good. This is going to be not so good, but we're okay. We're all right. We're all right. So now we need to get the old feet on the rudder pedals. We're not going to auto land. and we're going to be crap at landing, so make sure that is there. Kill the warnings. Nowhere near the centre line.
50, 40, 30, 20,
Oh,
10.
bloating too much then. Okay, reversers. I like looking at the reversers. See, we've got the slats up, we've got the reversers going. Better get back inside as I crash. And then that's it. So that was a crap landing, I know, but we can then drop that now that we're at about 30. Oh, keep going. Don't stop. Don't stop. What are you doing? At this point, we'll just unarm that. We'll do flaps up. Be off the runway first. Going far too fast for that, but yeah. Right, so off the runway. Just idle the throttles. Put that on the RTO. Perfect. Landing lights off, taxi light on. And that's that. So I don't know where we're going to park up, but I think we need to go in here, try and dump it somewhere. I'm going to be quite abrupt when I shut this all down, but I'm installing video editing software. Lewis is installing video editing software. What kind of videos is he going to make? Dirty boy. What? Is 11 taken? We'll go down to the next one. We'll go down to the next one. We could have gone 11, but we'll go down. We don't want to go there. Look, that's crap. Don't want to go there. Someone's parked some buses and stuff all over the place. What? Don't want to go to that one either. Right, this one might do. Yeah, let's dump it in number 8. Right. Naughty videos. That's it. Fly it in here. Get right down to the bottom. That's what she said. Woohoo. Right, so parking brake on. And then that is it. So we're pretty much done. We need to just start shutting stuff down now, so we'll turn the anti-ice off. What we need to do first is go to menu, ground services, and then set the chocks. Request the ground power. We don't need the parking brake on there because we have got chocks and the ground power is coming on. So we can put the ground power on, taxi light off, and then turn these off. Whoops. Right. Then just flip these two switches. They're going to turn the engines off. And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn, basically go around the opposite way, so we're going to turn all this stuff off. Right, your damper's off anyway. It should be off. Yeah, it's off now. Automatically flicks off. These turn off. I'm not going to use the APU because you normally start that when you exit the runway, but I completely forgot. We're going to turn the anti-collision lights off. Turn the packs off. Okay. At which point we can now go request the stairs, request the passenger bus, all the loaders, get them on the go as well. Okay, so everything is ready now, and then we can just basically turn off the ground power, turn off the... Ugh, where am I going? That there, turn that off, turn the battery off. So that's fully shut down, nice and quick. Cars are whipping all over the place, look, don't know where that one's going. I didn't open the doors, but maybe they'll open once they get the stairs in place. Yeah, there you go. Passenger bus. Whoa. So that's your ground power. That's what they connect to give the plane the power when you're not on the APU. And here they go. They're coming to take it all out. Winning. And I think that might even be my stream preview, so I'm just going to take a screenshot of that. And hover bus. Just going to take a screenshot of that. Now I've got to go because I is late. Cool. Well, I hope you enjoyed the flight, and it wasn't too hectic. And I'm not perfect. I'm not fantastic at the 737s, but it does the job. That approach was a bit dodgy at the end there because it was struggling to try and get round. Then by the time it got round, it lost the whole glide slope, so I had to put a bit of drag, and yeah, that was. And the landing's always shit for me because I'm crap. But there we go. Yeah, so appreciate you. I can't remember who followed before, but thanks for the follow. I'm also on YouTube and I'm also on Discord. I'll just repeat something that's probably not been popping up, but we'll have a little look. Give me a second. So let's just oh, it has not been. How about that? There we go. There we go. So that's my Twitter in the corner there. And soon after you will see my Discord channel. Jot that down. Join it. Chat. Whatever. Good times. Good times. I'm on YouTube, but if you get to my Discord, you'll get the links from there too. And that's it. So thanks all. And hopefully I'll be streaming again soon sometime. I'm going to do a few more flights in the 737, but I don't like long flights in the 737, so that'd be nice 25 minutes, half hours, that kind of thing. But yeah, so thanks all, take care, have a good day, and enjoy.